And welcome to the latest episode of From the Rubble, which is a playthrough, a let's play for my heavily modified version of Minecraft set in a post-apocalyptic and broken world. And last time around, we actually got the enchanting table set up. I know we are, 15 hours into this? But, it was a long time coming, but we got it set up and we started enchanting stuff, the gear I have on. But the problem is that we're going with vanilla enchanting mechanics because I don't have ready access to Crine obsidian. But the next step is to, just enchanting one thing at a time is not going to get me where I need to be. I need to make an anvil because I need to start combining and stacking enchantments, and that's done through the use of the anvil. But and it is a laborious process because you got to play the enchantment table lottery, which is you never know what you're going to get. So, just taking a look at how things are going here. But I think what I want to do is I want to make some progress down at the bottom of the world here. And I grabbed a bunch of gravel because I think I want to probably just completely fill in that little lava pool that's been giving me grief. And then just expand this space down here. Especially since the weather's so nasty. Yeah, this is where the lava pool is. You can tell by all the gravel I've been dropping. Oh boy. He's close. I can hear him. And he's making noises like he sees me. But where is he? Just kinda don't want somebody dropping in on me. Especially while I'm standing on the edge of lava. Because that would be unfortunate. Anyway, this should take care of most of the lava problem. There might still be some pockets because sometimes they have overhangs, and dropping in the gravel like this won't fill in an overhang. That's a deep one. That's a big hole to Monster Central, so let's kind of block this in a bit. Use gravel for the rest, I guess. Huh. So I guess my zombie friend, or I assume it's a zombie, seems to be quiet, so I guess he doesn't see me anymore. Good. Probably should put a light here so that they don't spawn. And then we're good. Whoa! Whoa, whoa, whoa! I see you. Here, catch. Okay, now let's try it again. There we go. Yeah, I know. It hurts, doesn't it? That's what you get for being in here. He must have come down through here. What a mess. What a mess. Oh. We'll just sort it out. I hope we don't have any more unwanted guests, but I don't think we're gonna get zerged. Though now that I think about it, we do run the risk of getting one of those guys with the purple sparkles, and I hate the guys with the purple sparkles. Oh, I used up all my stone to block beasties, so I guess I need one more. That'll do it. And now I can make a stone pickaxe. So there you go. Now, as a reminder, I'm at the very bottom. You can see there's bedrock there, so I can't go any deeper without having the bedrock get in the way. But this level would be the platform level for the metro, right, where you can come down and actually get on the trains. The next level up would be a concourse, right, so that, you know, basically the train station, but that's also where we'll have our portals to the Nether, and I think this world is enabled for the Aether too, so that would be both of them. And we're getting wide enough here that we need to kind of be a little more generous in our distribution of torches, because we don't want, I mean, it's bad enough that I got zombies dropping in, apparently I don't want them spawning directly in here, so that's what we'll do. Very nice, very, very nice. I think everything goes to plan this week, and so far it is. Of course, it's only Tuesday, so there's plenty of time for the plan to go haywire. But if everything goes to plan, I think I should be caught up on the queue, the release queue, tomorrow or the next day. And if that happens, then we'll start working on the planning documents for well, this world and the other worlds I have planning documents for. And that'll probably be done as a live stream. Not a planned live stream. It's just like when I have the opportunity to do it, I will do it. So you know, if you see me online, if you see me streaming and you happen to be available, by all means, duck in and see how things going. You know, ask questions, give feedback. That's what live streams are for. And of course, it'll be available to everybody after the fact. We'll give live streams another chance. Yep. I really don't know what to do with all this deep slate. I mean, it's an unusual problem for me because, as I've mentioned, you know, in New Londinium, you're talking about building a city whose primary building material and all of its infrastructure is from deep slate, right? So in that case, even though I'm digging out a huge city, I don't think I'll have enough deep slate just from the excavation to build all that superstructure, right? So deep slate is very valuable there. In Greifenhorst, again, the whole castle complex is going to be built using deep slate. In that case, though, I kind of think the extraction underground will probably take care of it. But here, I don't really have any plans to build with deep slate. You know, we're going to be using a mess of light gray concrete, though, which I've been accumulating. And Yeah, good. And it's all concrete. I thought some of it might be powder, but nope. So the primary building material will be the light gray concrete, and it turns out that if you throw the deep slate cobble into the pulverizer, it turns it into gravel, and we need to make a lot of gravel for... Oh, nice. We need to make a lot of gravel for creating the concrete, so I think most of our deep slate in this world is just going to get ground up into gravel and or sand. And, you know, for years and years and years, I've used deep slate as a primary building material, and it feels wrong to me. It feels like a waste, right? But that's just how it goes, I guess. I'll just have to learn to get used to it. You know, old dog, new tricks, that type of thing. Ooh. This is a crate-enabled world where we plan to use crate, so I want to make sure we grab as much of this zinc as possible. I believe you can make rails using zinc or iron nuggets, so iron is already pretty overloaded. I mean, you know, in my opinion, one of the things that vanilla Minecraft did poorly, in my opinion, is kind of balance out the uses for different items, right? So they, you know, with the with the caves and cliffs update, or is it the cliffs and caves? Either way, with that update, you know, the world goes higher, and as you go higher, there's more iron, and so there is a mess of iron in the world. There's way more iron in the world than there used to be, and that's cool. But you know, the thing is iron is pretty heavily loaded in this game, in that there's a lot of stuff that requires iron. I mean, you got tools and weapons and armor, okay, already. But then you've got the anvil, which is an iron hog all by itself, and in vanilla Minecraft, it is the primary avenue for customization of enchantment. So you're going to go through anvils, and then you've got lanterns, right? I think lanterns, you know, I think if you're trying to save your iron, then you got torches everywhere, and quite frankly, besides being a major fire hazard, I don't think it looks good, right? Even if you have a good resource pack, I don't think you want torches everywhere. I think lanterns look better, but lanterns kind of expensive. I mean, they're just one nugget shy of a whole ingot per lantern. And, you know, in a world where people can afford lanterns, they would much prefer to have lanterns. So there should be lanterns all over the place, right? And I'm sure there's some other iron stuff that I can't think of, but speak of the devil. But you know, it's overloaded, right? Then you've got stuff like the poison potato. In vanilla Minecraft, the poison potato serves absolutely no purpose, except for some idiot who eats it on purpose, or the newbie who eats it accidentally. Then it served a purpose, but then that's it. It's done, right? So that's like a waste of electrons, in my opinion. You know, and there's other stuff that is hard to come by, but incredibly should be common, right? I mean, if you stop and think about it, going back to the Iron Knight situation, our world is full of iron stuff, metal stuff. I mean, you know, your silverware that you have at home, not at a fast food place, but is iron. Most of our cars are heavily based in iron. You know, most of our buildings that aren't, you know, residential houses have iron infrastructures, right? I mean, just iron. It's not surprised because, you know, there's a bunch of iron in the Earth's crust, and then once you get past the Earth's crust, the Earth is one big ball of iron. I mean, we got a lot of iron. So iron should be a lot more available than it is. But they just didn't kind of think it through. I mean, and you know, I'll give Notch credit where credit's due. When he fell into this, it kind of fell into his lap. He had a tiger by the tail. And, you know, he was kind of treading water to try to keep up with demand and all the things he could do. I mean, I don't think he ever really had the opportunity to sit down and really plot it out. I think it was, you know, they were sitting down and they said, what should we do this week? And they came up with an idea and they implemented it and then said, okay, what should we do this week? Without really thinking through some type of like a feature map or anything like that. I mean, so that said, the guy did incredibly well. I mean, the base game, while he was still involved with it, was still a heck of a lot of fun to play. And of course, he made a lot of money off of it. So, you know, it's not just sour grapes on my part. It's I mean, he did good. I'm saying he could have done better. And totally outside of Notch's control, you know, he hasn't been involved for some time. You know, the folks at Mojang could kind of tweak and fix some of this weirdness. They haven't. So they're going to give me a tree you can't kill, but gives you the evil eye and follows you around. They can give me a version of white wood. You know, okay. That's fine, I guess. Just not exactly what I think we need, but... And with the demise of Hightail, you know, the pressure's really got to have been ratcheted down on them. Because, you know, when Hightail was out there, Hightail offered, or promised, a lot. And if they had released Hightail with even half of the stuff that they said they would, that would have put immense pressure on Mojang to up their game. Immense pressure. But, you know, Hightail never got fully off the ground. And so, and now it'll never fly at all. So, you know, the crew at Mojang's breathing easier, and there's no pressure for them to up their game. Literally. So, that's too bad. But, I mean, it's nothing to get too upset about because we are talking about vanilla Minecraft. And vanilla Minecraft has an incredibly large, active, and talented modding community, which is how we get mod packs like this. I mean, I'm not saying the mod pack is talented, or the idiot who made it's talented. But what I am saying, though, is that the individual pieces of this mod pack are pretty amazing. I mean, that's why I included them here. And you know, I think the biggest challenge for me playing modded Minecraft, right, is twofold. One, trying to find a good mix of mods that play well together in the pool. And two, trying to find a mix of mods that play well together on my hardware. Now, you know, I've mostly sidestepped that last one because I've updated my hardware recently. So this is a pretty beefy machine, right? And I'm really happy to have made the purchase. I mean, it also helped all my other game playing too. So it's kind of cool, like when you get a new game and you say, okay, well, install it, and then you go to the config and it says, yeah, I've already updated everything, and then everything's pretty much set at max. You're like, yeah, okay, I'm good with that. But that being said, modded, Minecraft itself is not all that optimized, and modded Minecraft can really take that down a notch. And Optifine, once upon a time, what seemed to be like, that was our savior. But Optifine itself got so bloated that it became part of the problem and not the solution. So, I haven't run with Optifine for a long old time. But, the only reason things work as well as they do in this world is because there are, among the other mods that are available, a lot of great performance mods that kind of pick up where Minecraft did leave off, which should have kept going. And that's awesome stuff. That's awesome beans. So so all I'm saying is this is a love letter, a big thank you to all the members of the modding community, and an extra hug and kudos for the guys who make performance mods. Well, the ones that work. You guys make this happen. And if you are one to make your own mod packs, you should basically do what I did, which is not reinvent the wheel, right? First you should get a list of what mods you want to run, but then before you start throwing these into the mix and seeing what falls out of it, I suggest that you grab one of the big kitchen sink mod packs, like all the mods 10 or something like that, and you don't have to play it, but when you grab it, you can go through the list of mods that are in the pack and search for, just search through them all, figure out what they do. You're going to find that there's a whole bunch of them that are the performance mods. Make a list of those. And then when you go to make your own mod pack, add those to the list right off the bat. And then you start adding the stuff you want for the content, right? And if you want to carry this all the way, what I suggest you do is you start with your terrain generation mods, put those in, and you test it out in a few worlds and make sure that everything runs without a hiccup. And if that's good, then you start adding some of your structures mods and you make sure those run without a hiccup. And then, each time you start with a whole new set of worlds, right? Just so that you can see the stuff generate. And then after that, you kind of prioritize your list and add in 4 to 5 mods at a time and do some testing. Make sure it didn't cause problems. And you do that until either you start to get problems because you have so many mods, or you run out of mods on your list. And at that point, you're ready to play. And that is pretty much how I came up with the mod packs for this series from the Rubble, and Gryphonhorse and New Londinium. But and then as you explore those worlds, you'll find that each has its own challenges, like this one, where it's a broken world. I don't have access to a lot of naturally spawned blocks like I used to, so I'm making an iron run because I really do need and want an anvil. But a lot of the cityscape takes is sitting in places where I might have had some great craggy outcrops like these to grab iron. Now, these should be prime iron hunting locales. This one in particular, because it's so close. But I think I've pretty much picked this one clean. I'm pretty sure not much left here. If there is, then I'll be surprised. Just means I missed it on one of the previous pass-throughs. So we'll have to probably go further and further away for iron. I didn't notice this before. This is a New Moose settlement. Now the New Moose, they're a little roly-poly, they're a little slow, and they're a little unfriendly. And as long as they stay in their neck of the woods and I stay in mine, and they don't try to hurt me, then I don't feel compelled to do anything about them. Kind of a live and let live type of philosophy. Do unto others, people living in glass houses, blah 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 blah, stuff like that. Man, I really did a pretty good job of picking this place over. So this is a big underground space. They're usually pretty good for iron, so let's take a look at this. Okay, they're having a beastie convention down here. So, somebody's shooting caps at me. I gotta go. I don't want to get shot down in the middle of a viper's nest. I do not want that to happen. It's a lot of calcite. So let's just... Now this was the area where I was grabbing my sand, but now I can, I can still come back and get sand here. It's not a big deal. But I can make my own now. Let's go try this rocky area. It's far enough away that maybe I didn't hit it at all. Or if I did, I didn't hit it too hard. Speaking of hitting too hard, I see some smoke particles coming off of my helio chopper. So, I don't think I hit anything, per se. Not hard enough to damage. I'm kind of wondering if there hasn't been, I'll have to check, but I'm wondering if there's been a change in immersive aircraft where just flying your aircraft starts eating up durability. Which would be unfortunate, but okay. As long as I don't get too crazy with the durability burn. That's one of the things I didn't like about V's-Craft machines, because you can only go like 8 feet before you take a big hit in durability, and then the stuff you could, it's not even like in this mod, immersive aircraft, all I need to do is get out of the ship and I can fix it. I don't need any material. But in V's-Craft, not only did I need material, I was pretty hurt. I needed their special material that came with the mod that you had to mine, and it's also the material you would use for fuel pellets and everything else. It's a little, again, between whoop. Oh, well, sound some extras. Then the problem with some materials being overloaded again, right? Materials used for too many things, and it's too hard to find. Kind of get yourself into the whole Arrakis mindset, right? It's you gotta have the spice. The spice is all important. That's from Dune. If you didn't catch on to that, yeah, I read the books, right? And I thoroughly enjoyed the movies. Actually, I even liked David Lynch's version of Dune, which was panned pretty hard. But the problem I had with David Lynch's Dune is the same problem I had with Ralph Bakshi's Lord of the Rings, right, in the mid 70s, or is it early 70s? I don't know. Or is it late 70s? Maybe it was late 70s. Ooh, that's nasty. I don't want to go anywhere near there. The problem was they tried to stay true to the material to some extent, but Dune is one of those books where people go, oh, you got a old phone book, and it's like, no, that's a novel. It's big, it's really thick, And it's a lot of material. And if you try to make a movie that's faithful to the book, you either got to make like, a trilogy, or you're going to have to really cut a lot out and do some weird editing stuff. And that's where those movies got themselves into trouble, because you make this movie, and let's face it, most people didn't read the book, either Lord of the Rings or Dune. So most people, especially if they're not sci-fi fanatics or fantasy, they don't know what the story's about. And yet, since you had to cut out so much of the story, in a lot of ways, the Ralph Bakshi's and David Lynch's movies are kind of like, scenes from Dune, scenes from Lord of the Rings, which is, if you read the book, then watching the movie, because it kind of jumps around from bit to bit and you're kind of missing context in between. But if you read the book, you're okay, because I get that. It's just, you can still follow along. You're kind of disappointed because you're jumping ahead and you're missing that big pieces that maybe you like. Oh, there's some on this sheer rock face. How wonderful. But if you're, like somebody like my mom, trying to watch it, she doesn't know diddly squat about these sci-fi stories. She's never going to read a sci-fi book. And so trying to wrap her head around, a movie that jumps around and you need to have context ahead of time, it doesn't fly. And it's safe to say that I think in this case, why is this still moving? I'm moving now, but I'm trying to get in here. But it's kind of like drifting all on its own, which is weird. Anyway, so for your average Joe trying to watch one of these movies, they're missing all that context. It's just like, well, what am I watching? What am I looking at? Who is this guy? Where did this come from? Anyway, the thing I liked about the David Lynch one was the production values, right? The production design. I loved it because, you're talking about science fiction in the very, very far future, yet, the uniform ship designs, it was all very Beaux Arts, maybe a touch of Art Deco. It was, so it was very evocative of a past time from our point of view, yet, it's crazy far in the future from our point of view. So I love that. I really, really love that. The new ones, they don't really have that same type of feel. They didn't. Whoa. I kind of hoped it would fall closer to me. Well, we'll take a look and see if we can get that later. But in the meanwhile, let's concentrate on what's in front of me. Anyway, so the new movies are, I think they're great too, and they're more complete. So if you didn't read Dune, if you didn't spend a year of your life reading Dune, then the stories as presented in those movies make way more sense, right? For the uninitiated. Now there are a bunch of Dune books, and I haven't read them all. They're not all as big as the original Dune, but they're all pretty hefty, and I think I've read the first 6, which is a lot, right? But Dune is one messed up world, man. Arrakis is actually Dune's what everyone calls the world, but Arrakis is the name of it, and it's got some interesting storylines and parables, and they're not even really parables, because the cultures, like the Fremen culture, it's not. All these cultures in Dune, they're not made out of a vacuum, right? Because it is set in human history, our human history, in the far future. So a lot of the Fremen cultures based on the Middle Eastern cultures, especially the desert cultures like the Bedouin and stuff. in our own world, right? And so when the Fremen exhibit certain attitudes and superstitions and traditions and stuff, they're not completely made up, right? And in this case, borrowing those traditions isn't artistic license so much as it kind of makes sense, right? Because again, you're talking about a far future of this Earth, right? Yeah, a reimagining of the far future of this Earth. So the context is very valid, and I like that. I guess that's why. I'm not finding any more iron. I could have swore there'd be more. Anyway, I guess that's why I'm drawn to post-apocalyptic shows and alternate histories and timelines, parallel worlds. Because, here's some. But I'm not going to try to park on the side of this slope. I'm going to park on top and then run down. Pick it up manually. Because I'm kind of a history buff, right? And if you enjoy history, if you enjoy, for most people, what they enjoy about history is learning about and understanding the cause and effect. So this thing happened in this country over here, but it inspired or triggered this other thing over here, which then inspired this other thing over here. That's how it goes. But, okay, it's not as bad as I thought. So, as a student of history, it's understanding this cause and effect relationship, I think, is part of the appeal. And then invariably, whoa, this is a tasty little vein here. Okay, said the vampire. Wow. Okay, that was the jackpot. That was a little jackpot. Nice. Anyway, so if you enjoy the cause and effect and knowing how all that works, then invariably you come to the idea of, well, what if, right? Kind of, some more. What if something, it's another nice vein. Okay, I definitely have way more than I need for making an anvil. So that was the goal here. Even more. Wow. It's feast or famine. I had a hard time finding any. Now I'm trying to get home and I'm stumbling on even more. But yeah, if you're interested in history and you're probably interested in the cause and effect and the impact, then the question comes up: what if? What if another one? What if Napoleon had won? What if he had taken over all Europe? Would he gone further? Would he have taken over, the nations that were eventually colonized, right? What if Hitler had been killed in World War I, right? And so the Hitler and the World War II that followed because of Hitler, what if that never happened? This is all interesting stuff to talk about. When the Roman Empire, when Rome fell, we think of Rome as a long time ago, and they're a bunch of primitive plebes, but they're not as primitive as we make them out. They were on the verge of figuring out the steam engine. They realized that you could use steam, and steam could power some things, but they hadn't quite thought it all the way through. But in a lot of ways, they were further along than the world that followed them, right? Because when Rome fell, the light of Rome, I guess you can say, a lot of knowledge was lost. Some of it lived on in the Eastern Empire, but a lot of knowledge was lost, and that's why we call it the Dark Ages. And that, of course, is the whole premise of Isaac Asimov's Foundation. But and it took a long time for us to refigure out the knowledge that was lost. In fact, when the knowledge was lost, we kind of reverted to not saying the Romans weren't superstitious, right? They had a bazillion different gods and festivals and stuff. But after Rome fell, the understanding of a lot of technology went out the window with it. And then it kind of got worse because, if somebody happened to figure something out or know something that was a little more advanced than the average person was used to, and if nobody could explain why it worked that way, well, must be witchcraft. And the idiot who happened to admit that they knew how to do something advanced must be a witch or a warlock, and therefore must be, drawn, quartered, hanged, burned, something really gruesome, just to kind of make the point. Church gave Galileo a pretty rough treatment just because the guy had the audacity to, kind of make some scientific observations and then declare that this is what the science says, and it went against the church. That's never good for anybody in a case where the church has a lot of power. So, yep. Oh yeah, I forgot I got this going. Good. I really should get or set up a blast furnace because it would make that smelting go a lot faster. I guess I haven't set one up before now because, like I pointed out, right, we're going to use a lot of those powders, right? We'll take the ore and grind them up in the powders and use those to make alloys. But now that I think about it, that doesn't preclude me from using a blast furnace. I could then take the alloyed powder and throw it into a blast furnace. So, yeah, okay, well, I'll need to remember to make a blast furnace at some point in the near future. But I got a lot of fuel here, so let's just, I won't top off the tank, but we can add this to the tank. And that'll keep us in the grinding biz for a while. It's churning away through the stuff. I can actually probably take some of this out of here. It's useful stuff. It doesn't need to sit here. Yep. Let that keep working. So maybe I'll throw some of this this gravel in. Oh, somebody's woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I'll throw some of this gravel into a furnace to start making slag. As you may remember, in a previous episode, we discovered that they altered the recipe for concrete a little bit, and I need slag. And I commented then, and I'll repeat it here. The weird thing is I guess I had a blast furnace. Okay, so let's blast, baby. So that's 13. So let's leave 3 in there to keep it at 16, which is an efficient use of fuel. And then 16 here, and I just took all the fuel upstairs, so that'll make it go fast. Anyway, I was pointing out that, just the name, slag, right? Slag. It's not a pretty name because it's not a pretty material. It's a waste material, right? So they make steel and stuff, and the junk that they pull out of the ore that isn't iron, isn't carbon, it's waste product. That's slag. That's what it is. So, and even in immersive engineering, right? In that one, when you were making steel, you couldn't use regular coal. You had to create coke, and in the process of creating coke and steel, you produce this waste product called slag. And then in that case, you could use the slag to make concrete. Now, here slag isn't produced as a product of industry. You know, and then you got to figure out what to do with it. Slag is a thing unto itself. We're making slag out of gravel, which is ultimately my whole point in all this. Is that's weird. That's really what it boils down to. Is it's weird. I guess the way to think about it is like, you know, at home you use stuff, and then the result is you know, trash. Either you recycle it or you throw it away. And in this case, it's kind of like we're using stuff, and it doesn't make any trash. So if I need trash, then I specifically go out of my way to make trash. Which, does that make sense? No. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox. Enjoy this lovely evening. Where's the clouds, please? There they are, coming in gradually. Okay, so let's drop this bad boy right here next to the enchantment. It's like I jumped it on a stone floor, but you know, it's Podzol, so I guess Podzol's a lot harder than it looks. Protection 2 insight, protection 1, blast protection 3. Oh, I didn't realize I got fire protection. I don't particularly want fire protection. Fire protection is one of those things where, unless it's absolute, it's not particularly useful, right? Sweeping edge 3, sharpness 2. Oh, well, there you go. That's a marriage made in heaven. And for 6 levels. So there you go. What else you got? Sharpness 1, sharpness 2. So that's not going to do any good. We'll put that away. And let's see. Efficiency 1. Yeah, I guess we could put efficiency 1 on the pick. No, not the don't put the pick away. Oh, I'm just out of books, I guess. So we still got some levels. Let's see what we can do here. So what do we got? We got piercing. Nope. Protection 1, probably. Leech. No, protection 1. So what we'll do? So find something that has protection 1. I'm pretty sure I remember something. There we go. The breastplate, chest plate, I guess they call it. Put that here. Put the protection 1 on it, and it should give me protection 2. Good job. And oh, I'm at 28. So no longer in peak enchanting mode. We need to get level 30 for that. Okay. Okay, should probably go down and work a little more in the basement at the metro. So this armor's slow, right? I mean, when you're in this armor, you move slow. But I'm just realizing what a big deal that is because there's a lot of stuff that's based on your base movement speed. Like coming down that ladder, I should have been flying down that ladder, but it's based on your movement speed. And oh, that's wrong. I need to. Yeah, I want it to match the current floor. So this is unfiltered, unchanged concrete. We want to make it smooth concrete using the chip mod over here. Anyway, so if you got something slowing you down, like this armor, then things like falling down scaffolding is likewise limited. Now, I don't plan for it all to be smooth like gray concrete. But for now, it just looks better. And then once we kind of set the basic shape, kind of like a draft, right? Then we will start picking blocks up and changing the look so that, and then putting them back so that it all looks better. But for now, it's just 2, 3, 4. That's right. 1, 2, and then 2 more. Just trying to keep track of where we are. I'm realizing that I'm going to need a lot more torches. And I just made a bunch of charcoal, so that would have been a great time to, make torches, but no, you get me yakking, and I'm just and unless somebody drives a car through the garage, which is connected to my studio, then I'm probably not going to notice them, right? Because I'm just in my own little world, which I share with you. So there you go. Okay. I'm tempted to try making guns again, but we'll save that for next episode because I really don't want the game to crash again. Weirdness ensues. I'm pretty sure it wouldn't crash. It's just, once bit, twice shy, right? So we'll make a full stack of torches. And then we're good. Now we are good. And let me just say that carrying a torch in your offhand, you can do in vanilla, but carrying a torch in your offhand and having it light the area around you, that's just, it's so brilliant, but I think it's kind of basic and essential, right? I think that should be something that's added to vanilla, but I think it comes to me in the Modpack via the supplementaries mod. But I wouldn't be surprised if one of the other mods I have also enables it. And in which case, if that's the case, I'm thankful they don't get in each other's way. Kind of like, 2 wrongs making a right, or 2 rights making a wrong. I do have multiple mods that will do things like handle double doors, or so you open one, you open both, or put things in your hand when you use them up, and that caused problems, right? So, like the double door one was pretty awesome because I would open one side of the door, and one of the mods would open the other side of the door, and then the other mod would kick in and says, "Oh, they're open, so we'll shut them both." And so I couldn't get through double doors unless I was super, super fast. So, and I'm not. So that's to say I couldn't get through doors. Now with this mod, with this weird mix of creature mods and tech mods and stuff, I have a whole lot of stuff floating around out in the rock here. Some of which I haven't figured out. Now that what I just got was from Farlanders, and I know what to do with that. That you mine that stuff, and that's basically the currency that the Farlanders use. So you can get stuff that's kind of cool from them. By trading for it. Problem is that not all Farlanders are friendly. So, and of those that are friendly, I think only one actually trades stuff. So let's get all this. I think we're done with that for now. And let's just use up this pick at least. Oh, looking at the time, we're almost out of time. So yes, let's use up let's use up this pick before we call it a day. Anyway, if you haven't heard the news, I retired my Endless Horizon series, but you know, that left a hole in the schedule. So I asked around and thought, got some feedback, and then thought about it, and then came up with a replacement. In fact, I came up with 2 replacements. So I just finished episode 0 of the first last night, and that is Parks O'Plenty, which is it's an amusement park builder set in Parkitect. So looking forward to that. That's pretty exciting for me. And then the other one, which I've only started working on design elements and stuff of, is called Near Mist, which is another Let's Build for Enshrouded. Whoa, looky there, block of raw iron. That right there is 100% of my daily recommended allowance. So we'll grab that. Nice. Looks like I'm, you know, with all the tuft there and the block of raw iron, I think I'm probably at the edge of a big iron vein. So that, if that's true, that we should get a lot of tuff, which is okay, and we should get a lot of iron, which is more than okay. And it's all an area that we're going to be digging out anyway, so yay for us. That is one of the joys of mining, is that, you know, they've done studies for people who, you know, experience, well, like they play gacha games, or they buy grab bags, or play the lotto, or gamble. There's a dopamine hit you get when you unexpectedly win or find something that you consider worthwhile, like a prize, right? And that's part of what leads to the gambling addiction, is that dopamine hit can be pretty powerful. And so the happy feeling you get keeps, and the potential of money keeps you going until you have no money, and then until you have less than no money. You have big loans. So you know, I don't gamble, but I do enjoy that little dopamine hit when you're out here digging, and you know, you find something like a big iron vein, or some diamonds or something like that. See, we got some diamonds here, so that's a big plus. I wish I had a fortune enabled pick, but unfortunately I don't. So that just, you know, that's how it works. Play the ball where it lies. That's, ooh, and I got a diamond for free there. So, okay. So let's get this slag out of the way, and then break out the diamond pick for the diamond stuff. And ooh, more diamonds, and even more diamonds. Unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot of use for diamonds at the moment, but you know, that's one of those things I'm willing to kind of stuff in a box someplace until I need it. Need more of it. Nice. Oh, I'm about to lose his pick. See? Okay. Okay. So let's replace the pick before I get distracted too much. Nope, I meant to, let's put away the weird stuff. And then let's grab this concrete and let's just lay it all down. Lay it down. Except I just crafted vanilla light gray concrete from vanilla light gray concrete. So let's this time let's actually change it. Oops, missed a block. And let's just expand this. I think I need 1, 2, Okay, so you're gonna need a few more rows, and then we'll set. Oops, another set of torches. Just kind of keep track. It's kind of the same rhythm as King Arthur and his knights clopping the coconuts together on Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Let's see. Uh-oh. Unwelcome company. Hold my sword, would you? Hey! Hey! So I don't know what that is. I'm assuming that's my blood. It's not his. Do zombies bleed? I mean, if they're dead, does it really matter if the blood courses through the veins? I mean, then this opens up a conversation about, like, you know, realistic zombie biology, and then you start sucking all the fun out of the idea of zombies. I'm not saying zombies are fun, but yeah, well, you know what I'm saying, right? You don't want zombies to exist, but don't mind them existing in the case of a story. It's the same type of thing when you start talking about, like, you know, werewolves. What changes a werewolf? What can stop changing a werewolf? How do werewolves react? And the trick is you know, because it's all based off of old tales and superstition back when people made stuff up completely randomly. And if you want to know what I'm talking about there, read the original Brothers Grimm, right? Besides the fact that the stories in the Brothers Grimm are, in fact, quite grim, half the time they don't make sense. Because, you know, because we grew up in a Disney-fied world where, you know, happily ever after, there is an ending, and it kind of makes sense that, like, that is an ending. When the Brothers Grimm sometimes, and then that's the way it was, and you're like, hold it, what? Well, I have questions. What happened to these guys? Why did this happen? Who? You know, it drives you nuts. But so where I went with that is sometimes when we try to make sense of old tales, mythology, folklore, you just can't, right? I mean, you just can't. You gotta really, really reach. And sometimes that works, and a lot of times it doesn't. It's a tough job. I mean, you know, that's what you get for reusing material, right? As opposed to if you're making your own story and making everything up from scratch, and you can just say that's just the way it is. To those ends, you know, you often play these computer games, and like, well, Enshrouded, right? We've got Enshrouded, and clearly the world you're running around on isn't Earth, never was Earth, doesn't have anything to do with Earth. But you've got materials that you find on Earth, right? So you got stone, limestone, you know, you got oak trees, you know, copper, tin, bronze, iron. That's all normal stuff. So if you're going to pick those things, then there's certain expectations as to what you can do with them, how they work, because these are real world materials that you can work with in the real world. But when you have a completely made up world, you could have completely made up materials that can work in completely made up ways, and nobody could say anything otherwise because, you know, it's not real, right? You made it up. You have to say how it works, and there's nothing to stop you from doing that. Anyway, like I said, reality, if you wanted reality, put down the controller or the keyboard and go outside. But anyway, that is it for this episode. I really want to thank you for joining me on today's episode. I hope you got something out of it. I enjoyed myself. It was relaxing. You know, my blood pressure probably went down, which is a good thing. And like I said, I hope it's the same thing for you. So next time, we'll kind of take things a bit further, maybe explore some gunsmithing. And until then, I hope this finds you and yours in good health, good spirits, and perhaps a touch of good fortune. Cheers.